If you look at one of the issues that also play into this, as I talked about earlier, is how you then allow distributed data teams to collaborate on an insight and actually arrive at the answer. Because you may have someone sitting in a certain location that has certain domain knowledge, the other person in another location may not, and you want them to be able to bring their knowledge into the analysis so you can drive to an insight quicker. So having a system that actually facilitates this is critically important as we start working with larger volumes of data, more diverse data, and people who are sitting in various different locations who each have different domain knowledge regarding the data that they're looking at. So the problem we've had so far is, only about 37% of analysts actually have a gut feeling about how to make decisions, and a lot of decisions are actually made on a gut feeling or without enough transparency into how someone arrived at the inside of the decision. So solving this problem also is part of what the new platform of analysis is all about. So going back exactly to what we're focused on, this story is specifically about converging data from the web, from private sources and premium data sources to drive what we call a converged insight. And what this means is allowing the user to easily find the data from each of these different sources that they might want to tap into. Typically, you will go into it knowing what sources, of course, you want to tap into, but how do you actually access it and make access easy? And how do you actually find interesting data that's external data to bring into the mix? So finding data, easily combining it, intelligently combining data from public and external sources, and then interactively and collaboratively exploring this data until you arrive at an insight. And what we call a converged insight is specifically about multi-source analysis, where data is being accessed from multiple internal and external sources. Specifically, what sources are we talking about here? So when you look across the premium data sources and web sources, often it's market intelligence data, it's social data, it's panel data, survey data, pretty much anything that that lives outside of your organization, where there's either an external API that's publicly available to get to it, or it could be a premium data source, or it could be social data that you want to bring into the mix, and your organization doesn't necessarily have the skill set to understand exactly what the specific interfaces are to each of these. So readily available access to premium and web data, merging into that private and corporate data from sources such as the RDBMS, data warehouses, Hadoop, platforms like Adapt, clickstream data, web log files, etc. And then finally, bringing into the mix, if one needed to, public data as well, but freely available public data, such as census data, could be weather data, could be other sources as well. So buffering, again, the user from the complexity of all the nuances of the sources, then focusing on making it easy to bring these sources together, conduct multi-source analysis, drive an analysis that's very, very iterative and very collaborative, and arrive at the insight that one's looking for. What this requires under the hood is, of course, terabytes of distributed processing, being able to handle multiple data types when you access different sources like Hadoop, relational sources, and the various external sources, and in each of them with their unique APIs. And then finally, harmonizing dimensions across them where that's possible and where one can actually do it automatically to remove some of the burden from the end user. So that's a quick snapshot of the type of sources and types of data that Story is focused on bringing together. Like I said, we're both a back-end system that drives the processing of all this, as well as delivering a front end that makes the process of finding, combining, and refining very, very easy to do, so a business user, business analyst can get going with the system and arrive at an insight very quickly. Okay? So with that, just to close this out, as we look at big data analysis moving forward, we think convergence of data from multiple sources is critical. When you do this, how you harmonize that data is very key. Quickly iterating on analysis and insights, and there are many different mechanisms to do this that didn't exist in the past, and then finally bringing collaboration into the mix to help uncover insights faster than you could before. All right, so with that,